I would love to thank Oklahoma City for 3 amazing years. Teammates and fans were the best. The love will always be there. Thanks again. Those were James Harden's parting words to the Oklahoma City Thunder, the team that had drafted him, the team where he developed into a 6th Man of the Year on a championship contender. Alongside Russell Westbrook and Kevin Durant, the OKC Thunder had selected 3 future MVPs in 3 consecutive drafts. Something like this will never be accomplished again in our lifetimes. 3 MVPs, 3 first ballot Hall of Famers, 3 guys who are top 10 in their positions all time. Just take a second to grasp that. A feat so tremendous, the mastermind behind it should get a statue outside the arena. And we'll get to him soon, don't worry. Unfortunately though, the mastermind's greatest move was undermined by his foresight. Following the 2012 NBA Finals, where the OKC Thunder lost to the Miami Heat, it seemed as if the sun was finally rising on the Thunder's prosperity. With their illustrious superstar duo of Russell Westbrook and Kevin Durant still in their early 20s, the best was yet to come for the Oklahoma City Battalion. All the organization had to do was lock down the key pieces that contributed to their finals run. They'd already secured KD and Westbrook, so their cosmic duo would remain intact for the foreseeable future. Durant was coming off a season in which he averaged 28 points, 8 rebounds, 3.5 assists, 1 steal and 1 block on 61% true shooting, and came second in MVP voting. At 23 years old, Durant became the only player in NBA history to average those numbers with that level of efficiency. OKC had in their hands a generational scoring prodigy. Well, more like generational scoring prodigies, because they had 3 of them. Russell Westbrook that season put up 24 points per game, 5.5 assists, 4.5 rebounds, and almost 2 steals a night on 54% true shooting. OKC's young duo were blossoming into their final forms. Meanwhile, James Harden was the odd man out, riding the pine, as his numbers seemed pedestrian compared to theirs. Following the 2012 Olympics, the Thunder chose to extend Serge Ibaka. Re-signing the Congolese big man led to questions regarding whether the small market Thunder could afford to offer James Harden the max contract he so fervently demanded. And unfortunately, his tentative status with the team could not be fixed, as the team's best offer fell $4.5 million short of what the Arizona guard desired. Besides the finances, James Harden, ever the egoist, desired to step out of his superstar teammates' shadows. A caged dove wishes to fly, and James Harden deserved to spread his wings and soar. So before the start of the 2012-2013 season, he was traded to the Houston Rockets, a blockbuster move that would go on to define the legacy of both organizations. What James Harden would go on to become is an outcome no one could have predicted. OKC already possessed 2 warheads, which is a rarity, so they were comfortable with prioritizing their current product rather than banking on the potential of their 6th man. And Ibaka was vital to the team's established physical identity, and at that point in his career, he was a runner-up to Defensive Player of the Year. How could the franchise possibly realize they had a 3rd warhead riding their bench, that the nuclear option was at their disposal? And yeah, looking back, thinking that Serge Ibaka would have a higher ceiling than James Harden just sounds dumb as shit. But remember, hindsight is 2020. The unprecedented outcome of this trade would be akin to Jordan Poole becoming a 30-point scorer and a top 5 player in the world after being traded by the Warriors. James Harden wanted to flourish in Houston. He had his own epic to write. No longer in a Thunder jersey, the Beard's departure created a domino effect that would lead to the eradication of the Durant and Westbrook tandem. Despite knocking on the door to greatness on numerous occasions, the Thunder just couldn't get the job done. And by 2016, Kevin Durant was at his wit's end. Feeling restrained by Russell Westbrook's prideful play and unwillingness to sacrifice, KD sought greener pastures, a new environment where he could integrate into an already established core, play alongside the best in the world, play with some actual shooters, not athletes without the semblance of a jump shot. Following the 2016 Western Conference Finals, Kevin Durant joined the Golden State Warriors, and so began the era of the Brody. And as they say, the rest was history. In 2017, Westbrook marched in an MVP campaign that displayed how invaluable he was to the success of the team. I mean, he practically was the team. He became the second player in NBA history to average a triple-double for an entire season. A monumental accomplishment, one that had stood for over half a century. Like Wilt Chamberlain's single-game scoring record, Robertson's triple-double mark was seen as an impossible task, until the Brody proved otherwise. It was clear that OKC must do everything they can to build around their javelin point guard. Unfortunately, they could never get it right. They definitely tried to make it work with Russ. They made aggressive pursuits in the trade market, acquiring Paul George from the Pacers and Carmelo Anthony from the Knicks. This core would find minimal success, failing to win a single playoff series during their tenure. And so, the short-lived duo of Russell Westbrook and Paul George met their end at the hands of Damian Lillard. A single shot that would go on to shape the legacies of everyone involved. Despite being on the losing end of an iconic moment, Lillard's 40-footer might have been the best thing to ever happen to Oklahoma City. It signaled the need for a complete demolition, and the organization wasted no time cleaning house. When people say the Thunder executed a rebuild as perfectly as one could achieve, it's no exaggeration. The Kings, no. Emperor's ransom OKC secured from the LA Clippers in the summer of 2019 for Paul George could very well serve as the foundation of a dynasty in the making. Paul George was 28 years old, coming off an all-time season where he not only finished top 3 in MVP voting, but also top 3 in Defensive Player of the Year voting. He was the sole asset the LA Clippers received in return for a record-setting 7 first-round picks, Danilo Gallinari, and an unproven Canadian rookie by the name of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. The heist of all heists, a complete and utter fleece job. Hindsight, people. At the time, Kawhi Leonard was on his way to LA on one condition. Get him Jimmy, Jimmy doesn't want to come. Well then, yeah, let's get Paul George. Hell yeah, he's one of the best two-way players on the planet. The guy's 28, going 28 a night. Pairing him with the reigning Finals MVP just sounds like a free NBA championship. And all the Clippers have to give up is a bunch of picks and some rookie? Come on, man, it's a no-brainer. We now know how lopsided this trade was. Take both men at their peak. Anybody swapping Paul George for SGA outright, let alone 7 first-round picks as a bonus. To make such a brilliant move deserves applause. Great general managers like Bob Myers of the Golden State Warriors are pivotal to the creation of dynasties. The GM is the one who holds the deck of cards, and having an excellent GM is nearly indispensable for building a championship team, even more crucial than having superstar players. And the mastermind behind the Oklahoma City Thunder, the man who's held the reins for nearly 2 decades now, the only general manager to draft 3 MVPs back to back to back, is none other than Sam Presti. Taking over the organization at 30 years old, what he's done since then is mastery of his profession. He's arguably the greatest general manager never to win a ring. A title he may soon shed if Oklahoma City continues to ascend. With Bob Myers stepping down from Golden State, Sam Presti is the current benchmark for great team construction, and his actions will certainly go on to redefine the league, because there's one thing Sam Presti is better at than any general manager ever, and that's hoarding draft picks. Trades. He got a head start with the George trade, but since then, he's traded Russell Westbrook for Chris Paul and picks, then proceeded to trade Paul for more picks, Adams, Gallinari, Schroeder, veteran role players, and young talent, all gone for draft picks. The Thunder rarely swap players of equal value because value to them is draft capital. They'll take on putrid contracts, players way past their primes, literally anything to get their hands on first rounders. The OKC Thunder currently possess, or could situationally possess, draft picks from 11 different organizations. That's 37% of the NBA. Sam Presti has monopolized draft picks, effectively turning the art of trading into his own enterprise. And if any team dares to blunder in their future endeavors, the Thunder will capitalize on their downfall. Look at the 76ers currently, because their 2025 first round pick is in Sam Presti's back pocket. And if that pick is anything below number 6, then the OKC Thunder will be selecting in the lottery, despite boasting the best record in the Western Conference. Oh yeah, his team isn't rebuilding anymore. They're on the hunt now. The rise of superstar Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has been a timely miracle. The hope was that one day he'd become an all-star caliber, floor-raising guard. However, today, he's seen as a stratospheric talent who can score 30 on any given night. The face of the franchise is currently the runner-up in MVP rankings, and deservingly so. He's 3 years into greatness, averaging 30 points per game, 6.5 assists per game, 5.5 rebounds, almost 2 steals and a block on 62% true shooting. Not to mention, Sam Presti's impeccable eye for talent has surrounded Gilgeous-Alexander with some of the brightest youngsters in the league. Going 2 for 2 in the 2022 NBA Draft, he selected Chet Holmgren 2nd overall and Jalen Williams 12th overall. Both appear to be all-star caliber talents who mesh perfectly with SGA. And I have to mention guys like Lou Dort, Isaiah Joe, Aaron Wiggins, and Cason Wallace, who are all homegrown. Wise draft choices, intelligent maneuvers in the trade market, and great free agency signings, the Oklahoma City Thunder have laid the groundwork for the next NBA dynasty. And hopefully Sam Presti and this organization can finally enjoy the fruits of their labor. Thanks for watching.